Good afternoon, students. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the guest speaker for today, Dr. Preeti Galagali, Adolescent Health Consultant. Dr. Galagali completed her MBBS from Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi, her MD in Pediatrics from BJ Medical College, Pune. She further completed her PG Diploma in Adolescent Pediatrics from the University of Kerala. Dr. Galgali is presently the Consultant Adolescent Health Specialist and Pediatrician and the Director of the Bangalore Adolescent Care and Counseling Center. Dr. Galgali has been awarded hundreds of times both at the national and the international level. She has innumerous published papers to her credit. Dr. Galgali is not new to BASE. Her daughter was a BASE student and is presently pursuing her PhD at Johns Hopkins after the completion of her graduation at Indian Institute of Science. Her son Dev is presently pursuing his MD from MS Ramaya after his MBBS from St. John's Medical College. Most of us have a certain dream. Some of us have multiple dreams too. However, the journey and the challenges that accompany us reaching the dream sometimes make us change the dream altogether or give it up. To help us make sense of this journey and manage it in a wonderfully balanced manner, I invite Dr. Galagali to take over.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and to be back at BASE after so many years. It is said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's exactly what we would want you students to do in this extremely tough time of the pandemic. I hope over the next few minutes, the thoughts that I share with you would make you strong, not only during the pandemic, but also beyond. We all are familiar with the COVID-19 virus by now, which struck the world in December 2019. India reported its first case on 31st January 2020, and since then the waves have been continuing. Coming back to the world, we know in some areas of the world we are facing the fourth wave of the pandemic, especially in the Americas. In India, things are a little better now. We faced the first wave and we had a devastating second wave, and hopefully we should be able to handle the third wave if it comes at all. Waves are known to occur during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's start with the good news. It was only a few days ago that Prime Minister Modi announced that approximately 50% of the Indian adult population has been vaccinated. And I hope that all of you who are above 18 years have also been vaccinated. And I would strongly recommend that those of you who are approaching 18 years on completion do get yourself vaccinated. I'm sure you all are familiar with the COVID appropriate behavior. You all are familiar with the respiratory hygiene, the cough hygiene, wearing the mask properly, not touching your nose, eyes and mouth, washing your hands, following all the steps recommended by WHO, maintaining a physical distance of at least 6 feet while talking to each other, and trying to stay at home as much as possible. And all this goes a long way in building your resilience during this pandemic time. And I would also take this opportunity to wish you a happy Dussehra and Deepavali. But remember, you have to take care of the 3 C's. You have to avoid closed spaces, crowded places and close contact settings even during the festival celebration. So take care, be safe and be healthy. Now coming back to the pandemic and its waves, you all will agree with me that we are in the storm of the pandemic, but we are not all in the same boat. Some are on super yachts and some have just one oar. Some of us have handled this pandemic very bravely and courageously. But some of us have had a breakdown. Some of us have been really up to date with the studies, but some of us have yet to start the studies. I hope that what I share with you would make the boats, all of them, equally strong and ready to face all waves or ripples of the pandemic. So in the next few minutes, we will discuss what is resilience, what is the neurobiology and the science of stress, and then finally, we would discuss some resilience building strategies. So what is resilience? It is the ability of an individual to function competently in the face of adversity or stress. I'm sure all of you would have seen the bouncing ball, right? So when you throw the bouncing ball down, it bounces up even higher. So whenever you are down, the idea is to be so strong that you bounce back and do even better than before. And that is what I would like you to focus on. So, like I said before, the ability to bounce back and adapt to hardships and setbacks in life is what resilience is all about. It means never ever give up. Fall down 7 times, but get up 8 times. Let me start by sharing the story of one of my patients. So she was brought to me, she's 16 years old, brought to me by her mother. And her mother said, "Oh doctor, please help me. My daughter is very aggressive and very angry most of the times." And then when I talked to this young lady, she said, "What can I do, doctor? My mother is so very partial to this younger sister." And while I was counseling her, COVID struck. Both her parents became COVID positive and they were advised home quarantine. And the whole load of looking after the household as well as her younger sister fell on the delicate shoulders of this 16-year-old. But she was strong. She was extremely strong. She took up the challenge. She not only cooked for her parents, for her little sister, for herself, looked after the household and helped her parents to recover. So don't you think this was a fine example of resilience? Though she was down, though she was angry, in fact she was clinically depressed. She did not let this really pull her down. She bounced back. She looked after herself, her sister, and her family. And what to talk about the recently ongoing Paralympics? I'm sure you have heard of all those athletes who have fought up disability, hardship to win medals in the Paralympics. Just one example is this 19-year-old Avani Lekhera, who underwent actually multiple spinal injuries and after an accident that she had at the age of 11 years. And she has no sensation in her legs. But this was not something which pulled her down. She went on to train in shooting and won a gold medal for India. In fact, the only woman to win a gold medal from India in the Paralympics. So this is what resilience is all about. Yet you all know about Neeraj Chopra, Ravi Kumar, Lovelina and the Indian hockey team during the Olympics who faced the challenge of COVID and just came out brilliant through that and won medals for the country. So COVID is not something which is pulling people down. It is showing the world how you can shine in spite of all the adversities. So remember, you are not born with a fixed amount of resilience. It is like a muscle. You can build it up, draw on it, and when you need it. So in what way can we build up resilience? But first, let's come to stress. What is stress? Stress is a challenge to your internal homeostasis. So you come to college every day, you attend classes, and suddenly there is a change. There is an exam, and this acts as a stressor. So what do you do to overcome this stressor? Will actually tell you how you build up your resilience. So how do you really build up your resilience? It's a very simple 3-point formula. One is make yourself strong, very strong internally so that you can withstand the stress The second thing is reduce the stressor. And how do you do that? By studying regularly and being well prepared for the exam. And the third point is build supportive relationships. With whom do you build these relationships? You build these relationships with your family who look after you when you're preparing for your exams. You build these relationships with your teachers who are extremely supportive and help you by answering all your queries and doubts. You build this relationship with your friends who can also be very supportive and helpful while overcoming the stress of exams. Now, I'll take you back to the days of the early man. You all know about the early man who used to live in a cave, and suddenly, if a lioness was to come in front of him, that would be a stress. You will all agree with me on that point. So what does this early man do? He either freezes, he either starts fighting the lioness, or he chooses the flight response. So if he fights the lioness, definitely the lioness is going to kill him. And if he gets frightened and he gets freeze into a freeze response, again the lioness is going to eat him up. But if he goes into a flight response, he may escape from the lioness. So what happens in the brain? You all know about the hypothalamus. It senses the stress. It senses the danger signal. And what does it do? It signals the anterior pituitary and the adrenal medulla to secrete the stress hormones. And these are adrenaline, noradrenaline, and the cortisol hormone. What does the adrenaline do? It causes dilatation of the pupil so that the early man can look here and there well. It increases the respiratory rate so that more oxygen is being taken in. It also increases the blood pressure and the heart rate so that more blood is being pumped into the brain so that the early man can think of strategies to escape from the lioness, and more blood is being pumped into the muscles so that the early man can run away fast. But what happens here? The compromise on blood supply is on the digestive system and also on the kidneys. No wonder when we are in stress, sometimes we start getting butterflies in the stomach. The cortisol hormone, it causes glycogenolysis, the breakdown of glycogen into glucose, and this glucose is used by the brain and muscles to escape from the stress. So what happens? The early man makes use of all these stress hormones. He hides, goes behind a bush. The lioness comes and searches for him, doesn't find him, and simply goes away. So the stress response has actually saved the early man. So what does he do? He has a big smile on his face. He takes a deep breath and he relaxes. And all the hormones come down to their basal levels. So what has happened here? The stress response has helped the early man to escape from the stressor. But what happens in real life? In real life, the COVID-19 virus is simply not going away. It is there and the stress is constant. So how are we going to deal with this? We are going to deal with this by understanding that this is one thing which is not going away. It's not like the lioness, and we are not like the early men. So what we need to do is to make ourselves healthy to fight the COVID-19 virus, as well as get immunized for those of us who have attained 18 years of age. And also happy to share that very shortly, maybe we would have a vaccination for less than 18 years old also. And the second thing is about exams and studies. These are also like those paper lionesses which do not go away. So we have to learn how to handle the stress of studies also in an appropriate way so that we don't get a surge of stress hormones. If we have too high stress hormones, what would happen? We could get distressed because of high levels of adrenaline. We would get a high blood pressure. We would get even allergic diseases, also to the extent of getting ulcers in our stomach, lose our hair. All these are side effects of excess stress. So let me show you this Yerkes-Dodson law. So what does it say? It says a little bit of stress is actually good. It helps you to improve your performance. Haven't you sometimes noticed that when the exam is on the next day, a day before, you are able to read many chapters in a short while previously you would have taken hours to finish one chapter? Why is that? Because of the stress, you are focusing well and your attention is complete. And it becomes easier if you have read that particular chapter before. But if you have not read that chapter before and you're reading it just before the exam, the stress level shoots up and then the performance falls, because then you get stomachache, you get tremors. So what do we want to do in life? We know that changes are going to come in life. There's no escaping stress. But what we can train ourselves is to remain in a eustress position and not get distressed by the stress. Now, I'm very thankful to all of you who filled up the questionnaire in an effort to find out what are the things which have been stressing you during the pandemic. And you have shared with us that your personal stressors included weight gain, headache, eye strains, low mood, sleep disturbances, and even anger issues. And when it came to your friends, you were terribly missing your friends. And also in studies, you had poor motivation, lack of interest, low confidence, poor time management. Sometimes you were bored, you were anxious whether you would be able to cope up with your studies, and there was also the fear of failure. And when it came to the media, some of you were also worried that you were getting addicted to the mobile games and even addicted to the mobile by itself and not spending enough time on other activities. You're very also anxious about whether the community was following the COVID appropriate behavior and whether your family would unfortunately be a prey to COVID, or you were also scared whether your family was following COVID appropriate behavior. So these were the stressors which were really troubling you, and 20% of you were more troubled than the others. So in the next few slides, I hope that I'll be able to share with you some stress busters which would help you to face all these stressors that you are facing in life right now. Because I know that if you do not face these stressors in a eustress fashion, distress can lead to headache, sweating, stomach pain, even pimples, sleep disturbances. It can lead to poor focus, forgetfulness, loss of interest in activities, sometimes excessive crying, sadness, poor appetite, and thoughts of self-harm. Some of you have also said that too much of distress has added to your anger, irritability, social withdrawal, disturbed relationships with family and friends. And we have to learn how to handle stress appropriately so that we don't get distressed. Some of the young people whom I know have actually resorted to wrong ways of handling stress. Just because they can't cope up with their studies, they cannot cope up with the stressors of the pandemic, they have gone into the virtual world of the mobile, and they spend a lot of time scrolling through all the social media messages, all the time surfing the web and hardly doing any constructive activities. Some of the young people have become isolated and alone. Some of the young people have also thought of running away from home. Some of them are losing their temper and getting very aggressive with the family members. A few young people have started smoking. Few have considered self-harm and even suicide. So these are some of the wrong ways of handling stress, and I can assure you that we have so many positive ways of handling stress that we need not resort to any of these maladaptive strategies. Having said that, I also understand that up till the age of 24 years, the brain is under development, and actually your brain does not get fully mature. And I'm going to share a little bit of the neurodevelopment, and I hope that this will make you understand yourself better. When puberty starts, that is, the development of breasts in girls and the enlargement of testes in boys, the limbic system, which is the center of emotion, matures. So what happens? The young people get very high on emotions. So small things get amplified. For example, if you don't do well in one exam, you think that it is a hopeless situation and you will never ever be able to do better. This is because apart from your hormonal surges, your limbic system is on a high. And not getting enough marks actually makes you feel very, very sad because you have a very hyperactive reward center which is looking for a dopamine kick. A dopamine is a neurotransmitter which is secreted in the reward center when we win a prize, award, or when we get appreciation from our teachers, parents, or friends, or when we learn a new skill like dancing, like sports. Now you will realize in the pandemic, teachers are not there, you're not in touch with your friends, you are probably not doing all your other extracurricular activities and your sporting activities that you were doing before. And this is what you have shared with us. And because of this, your reward center is not feeling very happy. So both these things, excess emotional reactivity and excess sadness, is actually putting you in more stress. But what happens as you grow older? As you grow older, by around the late 20s, your prefrontal cortex, the judgment center, matures, and then you would be able to understand the stressors much better and your reaction would be much better. Until then, you need the help of other people around you, and these could be your parents, they could be your teachers, or they could be a counselor or doctors like me, or even your friends who could let down your emotions and actually help you to overcome stress. I'm showing you another picture here, and these are functional MRI scan images of the brain. The blue areas of the brain show myelination of the brain, and as you grow older, the myelination increases. And these are scan images taken at various ages. So you can see for yourself that is only at the age of 20s, your brain fully gets myelinated, and the last part of the brain to fully get myelinated is the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain which actually controls your emotions and your reward seeking behavior. Also remember that as your brain is very plastic now, if you learn good stress management strategies, those neurons will actually start firing together to handle stress. So this is actually the best time to learn good stress busting activities which will last with you for over a lifetime. Now, let me come back to this diagram which I showed you initially, and I said these were the stressors. But if you have noticed very carefully to what I have been saying, these are not only the stressors, but these are the stress busters. So remember the three strategies to actually build up resilience: decrease the stressors, make yourself strong, and build up supporting relationships. So if you can build up your individual health, and you can reduce the stressors in different arenas of your life and build up good relationships with people around you, resilience will not be a problem. Now coming to the first thing which has really been troubling all of you. I know you have been mostly sedentary during this pandemic, and most of you have said we are not happy with how we are looking. I'm sure most of you would want to look like very suave, very smart, and healthy with an appropriate weight and not be obese. So things have been difficult for all of us when we have been snacking a whole lot, which has made us put on weight. We have also been binging on the OTT, the over-the-top platforms, and we have not been exercising enough. So we need to be mindful about certain facts and figures to really be healthy. We must remember that when we are binging on pizza, one slice of pizza actually gives you 350 calories. So does one cold drink. One packet of French fries gives you 550 calories, and one ice cream 600 calories. And if you eat 500 calories per day extra per week, you put on 1 pound of fat. So the calculation is very simple. So if you have 1.5 slice of pizza every day for a week, by the end of the week, you're going to be heavier than 1 pound. So be mindful about what you are eating. Maybe have pizza and all these cold drinks just once a week and not on everyday basis. So what do you need to eat? You need to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and make your plate very, very colorful with papaya, tomato, banana, cucumber. So the more color it is, the more healthy it is. For the brain to really function to its optimum best, iron-rich food is required. For those of you who are non-vegetarian, you would get the iron-rich food from the non-vegetarian diet. For those of you who are vegetarian, you must take special care to have plenty of green leafy vegetables, also dates. And putting a little bit of lemon while you're eating your sopu, the palak sopu or the mente sopu, would actually enhance the absorption of iron. Also, eating a diet which is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Those of you who are non-vegetarians can eat fish, and those of you who are vegetarians should have germinated sprouts and also walnuts, which are very high in omega-3 fatty acids. So remember to take a diet which is very brain friendly. But if you binge on sweets, what is going to happen? There's going to be a sudden spike in your glucose level in the blood. Insulin is going to be secreted, and then there is going to be a dip. And this yo-yo level of blood glucose in the blood can make you irritable, can make you angry. So it's best to eat a fruit when you are hungry, when you are studying, instead of munching on biscuits or chocolates. A fruit would result in fructose breaking down slowly, and the glucose levels will not go very high. Especially for girls, it is important to remember that because of the menstrual periods that they have, they must take an iron tablet once a week, and remember to deworm every 6 months. Even boys can take an iron tablet once a week to maintain the hemoglobin level in their blood. Of course, you should decrease coffee, tea, sweets and salt intake, because coffee and tea can cause acidity, and caffeine itself can act as a stressor to the body. So I would recommend not more than 1 cup of coffee in a day, and in case you plan to have coffee also, you must have it at least 6 hours before your bedtime. Remember to exercise 60 minutes per day, and exercise is a great stress buster. And I know many of you have been missing the exercise, and also exercise helps in the secretion of endorphins, which are feel good hormones. A word about exposure to sunlight. This gives you vitamin D, and vitamin D not only builds up your immunity but is also a stress buster. So the best time to expose yourself to sunlight would be between 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Remember, sleep is like recharge of your batteries. You must sleep for at least 7 to 8 hours per day. Switch off your digital devices at least 1 hour before bedtime, because the blue light emitted from the digital devices actually disturbs the secretion of melatonin hormone from the pineal gland, and melatonin hormone helps you to sleep. Also, remember that if you're using digital devices in bed and you're looking at the notification and the chat messages, this would cause arousal and will not allow you to sleep, have a good quality and quantity of sleep. Remember to maintain a normal body weight for height and body mass index. I'll talk about it in just a moment. And remember to have some time of relaxation. And not to forget here, 2 to 4 glasses of milk is extremely important, because this gives you the calcium. In fact, this is the last time in your whole lifespan that you would be pushing calcium into your bones to build up the calcium stores. And remember to have 6 to 8 glasses of water. So this is body mass index. So somebody says you're fat, you're thin, please don't believe them. Please sit down and calculate your body mass index. I'm sure many of you would be knowing weight in kg divided by height in meters square is the BMI, and at your age it should be between 18 to 23. I've also shown in pink the BMI charts, which are the Indian Academy of Pediatric charts for body mass index according to age, and these are available online. We have similar charts for boys also available. So what I have given you is a rough estimate, and if you want a precise estimate according to your age, you can download these charts. Coming back to exercise. Now, exercise we all know is for physical fitness, and I also said for that feel good mood which you have after you do exercise. But also remember that when you do exercise, you are pushing blood into the temporal part of the brain which houses your memory center. So this was a research study which was done, and here we had 20 students who were sitting quietly for 20 minutes before the exam, and they took the test, while there were another 20 students which took the exam after a 20-minute walk. As they took the test, the MRI scan was also done on their brains, and you can see here the orange colors after the 20-minute walk shows that more blood was pumped into the memory center. So remember, don't postpone exercise. Remember to exercise every day, because I'm sure all of you want to have a great memory. So the way you study is important. How you enjoy your studies is important. Whether you understand your study or not is important. Whether you're anemic or not is also critical in building your memory, and so is exercise. So how do we exercise during the pandemic? There are innumerable ways that you can exercise. You can do an online exercise class, you can do skipping on your terrace, you can just put out the music and dance, let down your hair and dance away and exercise. You could do muscle strength and balance training at home, and you could also play active video games. Nimhans has a daily online yoga session which you could join, and these are all excellent ways of exercising at home. Many of you have complained of headache, neck pain, back pain. So remember, ergonomics is extremely important. Remember to sit in the right way in front of your laptop or your desktop. The angle between your forearm and arm should be 90 degree, and the angle between your thigh and leg should be 90 degree as well. And your eyes should be at level with the top 1/3 of the screen. And just look at that. Your ear, your shoulder and your hip should follow in one straight line. So if you use this correct posture of seeing the laptop or the desktop, I don't think you should be having the back pain or the neck pain. And remember to take a break every 30 minutes. I know most of your periods are for 1.5 hours. I've requested base to give you a little gap in between. But remember, when you get a gap in between, don't sit in front of the digital media. Just leave the media alone, look out of your window, give rest to your back and to your neck. And when you're seeing the mobile or the iPad, remember to raise it up, because the more you bend down, the more weight is put on the spine. So keep your head up and chin tucked in. Remember to raise up your mobile to see the mobile rather than bending down. So this again would reduce the neck pain. Some of you have also complained of dryness in the eyes. So this is mainly because of the computer vision syndrome. So when we are looking at a screen constantly, the blue light also in a way affects our vision. Also we just forget to blink. So what I suggest is to follow this 20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, take a break for 20 seconds and look at an object 20 feet away to relax your eye muscles. I know sometimes 20 minutes may not be possible, but whatever break you get, during an online class, you cannot take a break of 20 minutes, but when you are studying, definitely you can take a break of 20 minutes, look at an object very far away and do these computer and desk stretches. So remember to move your neck up and down, sideways. Remember to move your shoulders. remember to flex and extend your wrist, and the same thing you do for your ankle, and also remember to twist your back. So if you do these stretches, again you will not get all those aches. Coming back to studies again, you know how important studies are, but I'm sure you have other goals in life as well. You have goals of making wealth, of having a great family, of being healthy, and of also finding love in life. So all these goals are equally important, as is the goal of career, which may probably become easier when you study to your optimum best. And your goals should be SMART goals. That is, SMART is an acronym which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic or relevant, and time-bound goals. This pandemic has been tough, and it has been tough to reach goals. So how do you really set up goals? So the first thing to do is to visualize the goal, tell others about it, get support, work on the goal, stay positive, and then finally reach your goal. But pandemic has really made things very, very difficult, especially getting the support, working on it, because online classes have been sometimes utterly boring. Staying positive has been difficult when we hear so much of negativity, and reaching goals has actually been a challenge. But I would suggest, believe in yourself. Don't think you can't do it. Always believe you can do it. And let me share with you a few strategies. So if you have always been sitting on the couch like a couch potato, I think you must start moving. So play, exercise, yoga or dance. And if you have always been sitting very, very meditatively, also you need to move. And if you have been very agitated all the time, I think you need to tone down. You have to sit and do some introspection, because when you change your state, things start becoming more clearer. For those of you who have not been moving, start moving. For those of you who have been moving too much, chill and cool down. Acknowledge that during the pandemic, learning is going to be difficult, and it is difficult for everybody now. And if you have not been studying till now to the maximum of your potential, remember, past is past. Focus on the present, because present is a present. And you need to focus on how to really start studying. Don't bother, oh, I didn't study well before, I wasted my time on the mobile. Just forget it. Don't waste time now. Refocus on your ambition and tell yourself how important is studying. What is your plan A? If your plan A is to do basic sciences, your plan B could be doing engineering, and your plan C could be just doing BSc in a college. So have your plans very clearly charted out, and imagine how good you would feel when you put in your best effort, how proud of yourself you would feel, and how satisfied you would feel. So define your path. If you have not completed your notes and your homework, do it now. If you have not updated yourself regarding your studies, plan how you would do it now, and identify the roadblocks. If too much of mobile is a block, keep it away for some time. I know it is difficult, but you can do it. At least when you are studying, keep it in a drawer or keep it in a cupboard far away, so that it is not within your reach. If you feel the problem has been a relationship with your brother or sister, work on the relationship. Share with them that this is a crucial year for you, and it would be nice if everything is peaceful at home. And go for it today. Please rekindle the motivation in yourself. So let me share with you a few practical study tips. For those of you who are finding it difficult to study, I think it's time to clear your desk, to have a daily to-do list, that is, which includes online classes, colleges, and keeping it flexible. Because sometimes you may have an exam, and sometimes you may not have an exam the next day. Sometimes you may have some assignment to be submitted. So keeping all that in your mind, you must make your timetable. Remember to leave time for college hours, for clearing doubts assignments, for regular study, for sleep, for exercise, for meal time, for getting ready, for having family fun time and relaxing and socializing with friends. So I have written down approximately the hours that you can spend on these various activities during the day, and you would be surprised to know that you will still have 1 hour a day free to catch up, to learn a hobby, to dance, laugh, fantasize, meditate, or even pray. So when you get back to studies, remember, you would find it slightly difficult to get back to studies initially. So you may start slow. You may decide that you may study for only 25 minutes to start with and then reward yourself. And this reward could be a jog around the house or playing with your pet or listening to your favorite song. So these are some of the ways in which you can reward yourself and gradually increase your study time from 25 minutes to 30 minutes, 40 minutes and thereon. So you can choose whether you want to do the difficult subjects first or whether you want to do the easy subjects first. This is to keep yourself happy, engaged and motivated. So you may decide to do the difficult subjects first because you're fresh now and you may slog like a sloth. But you might like to do the easy subjects first and zoom like a racing car. And remember to break the task into easy chunks so that you can easily do your studies with a big smile on your face and not with a frown. And sometimes it's nice to challenge a friend and form an online study group. So remember, every morning you have two choices: sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. And a few other tips are to change pens, use sticky notes, take 15 minutes break, use colorful pens, study from videos, read instead of write and write instead of reading, change your study positions and make a checklist and tick it off. Now what all I'm sharing with you, you can pick and choose what suits you the best. But remember to stay motivated. So these are some of the things that we've already discussed, and I would reiterate, make sure that you have 7 to 8 hours of sleep, exercise for 1 hour, avoid alcohol and drugs, practice meditation because meditation builds up your attention, concentration and even your memory. Remember to connect socially, if not offline, then at least online. Reduce screen time and media exposure, which is probably not related to studies and includes a little bit of your recreational time, but not too much. Many of you have said that you use music as a stress buster. So I would suggest continue using music as a stress buster. Learn new skills, learn new hobbies, study regularly, eat healthy, and remember to connect with nature. Look at the green trees, the beautiful flowers. These are excellent stress busters and keep you grounded. Photography is one of the hobbies that you can develop. And this is by a young patient who was very, very irritable and he decided to adopt photography as a hobby. And this is not in a bird park. This is right from, these are pictures taken from the terrace of his house, and he has been in a better frame of mind since then. This is another set of pictures which have been drawn by another patients of mine who were very anxious during this time, and they were thinking, how should we beat the stress? So if you look at the picture on COVID, you can see so many stress busting mechanisms, right from eating healthy to using Zoom to even exercise to even baking, cooking. And on the right side, there was a child who was extremely anxious and we are not able to find out why he's anxious. So I told him to draw what he is feeling, and he felt that the mask was suffocating the whole world, and this actually helped us to understand his anxiety. So sometimes it's good to draw out your feelings and even write it down. Journaling, blogging are excellent, and this is mandala art which some youngsters do to actually calm themselves down, and this is also a very effective way. The most important thing is how you perceive a particular situation. So look at this picture. Some of you may see a wine glass and some of you may see two faces. What is the importance? So when you come back to college, you will find that some of your friends are not talking to you and you may feel that your friendship is actually lost. But instead of having such negative thoughts, feeling down and then not studying at all, I would say go ahead, and talk to them. And then you would realize that they would say, hey, I was looking forward to meeting you. I just didn't notice that you had entered the class. So remember, the way you perceive a situation actually changes your feeling and also changes your behavior. Sometimes we get too much overwhelmed with too many things around us. Remember to divide your coping skills into what you can control and what you cannot control. When will the pandemic end? Will I have the NEET exam or not? Will my NEET exam get postponed? Will my board exams get postponed? Remember, these are all things which are out of your control. So please do not get too much bothered about it and too much anxious about it. Take life as it comes. Stay in the present moment. Concentrate on things which are under your control. The way you study, the way you have COVID appropriate behavior. This is what is under your control, and hence focus on this. So remember this prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. So I suggest to all of you not to bother about when the exam would be, whether it will be online or offline mode. Just concentrate on studying and putting in your best. I'm sure you all know about this thirsty crow story. You all know that getting water was essential for his survival, and he simply didn't give up. He thought of multiple solutions to his problem and solved the problem by putting the stones, drinking water, and flying away happily. Same thing in life. When you have problems, don't just give up. There are multiple solutions. For example, you're having problem in studying physics through your online education system. Please start thinking, how could I get help for physics? Could I get an online tutor? Or could I get a tutor in person? Can I ask these doubts from my friends? Can I ask these doubts from my father? Can I look at some videos online and solve my doubts? So remember to think about the problem solving techniques and not to just give up and say, oh no, I can never learn physics and I give up. So remember that. And when you are online, remember about the digital footprint. Whatever you write online can never be erased. So remember what you are writing online and what you are posting. If you are posting inappropriate images or messages, this can be actually downloaded years later when you are searching for a job. And this can spoil your very fine academic CV. So remember, before you post, be mindful of the digital footprint. Think, and think is an acronym which stands for whatever you are posting. Is it true? Is it hurtful? Is it illegal? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Please follow this acronym, because if you post inappropriate images, we have a very active cybercrime cells. And by the way, if you get any inappropriate message, you get cyberbullied, there is this website called cybercrime.gov.in. You can post your complaint right there anonymously or with your name. Remember that as we are fighting the pandemic, we also have to fight the infodemic. Stay away from fake news and do not forward any fake news. Remember to connect socially with your friends, with your grandparents, and also remember to give gratitude to all the corona warriors. When you help somebody, you overcome your stress. And when you express gratitude, you also overcome your stress. Remember to bond with your family. Sometimes you get irritated with your parents because they do not understand your challenges. But please explain to them your challenges with a lot of patience. Discuss life goals with them. Strengthen your bonds, because they can be your most powerful stress busters, especially during the lockdown. Also remember to bond with your siblings, which is equally important, and to help your grandparents, senior citizens, and those who are in quarantine because of COVID. Like I said before, if you help, you feel better. And when you get angry, think about the pressure cooker. So as a pressure cooker builds up pressure, you must learn how to release that pressure. So what is the way of releasing the pressure? I have given you lots and lots of suggestions. Exercise is one. Listening to music is one. Journaling is one. Also releasing the pressure is by talking about your problems. So you felt offended when your father scolded you in front of your brother. Please go and talk to him about it. And when you talk to him about it, you release your pressure, you release your anger. Anger is a very common emotion. There's nothing guilty to be felt about getting angry. But what do you do with that anger? Do you react and create more problems? Do you go and break your mobile in anger? Then you have created a more problem. But if you respond, talk to your parents about the issues which are irritating you, it'll make things better at home and you would be stress-free. Sometimes when you're feeling very down, this is another technique which you can practice. You can draw a tree, you can think about the roots, you can think about the ground, your present life, you can think about all the skills that you have, you can think about the branches, the hopes, dreams and wishes. You can think about the fruits with gratitude, whatever you have got, the kindness and the love of other people. You can also think about the leaves at people who are important to you and how they would help you to actually face all the storms of life. So this is a narrative therapy, tree of life. You can draw it and solutions to all your problems and coping to all the stresses would just flow in. So don't give up. Just use some of these techniques. COVID has been a tough time. We have lost many of our near and dear ones, and this has put us into a lot of sadness. I know we should take time to grieve about our near and dear ones, but remember, all these near and dear ones actually wanted you to shine in life. So you have a duty towards them to keep their memories alive, to cherish the good times that you had by maybe planting a tree in their memory, maintaining a photograph album of all the memories and doing what they wanted you to do. Some of you have lost your parents. Some of you have lost grandparents, uncles, aunts, friends and other family members. I would request all of you to really do your best because I'm sure all these people wanted you to put in your best. It's time to come back to college. Remember, come back to college with a big smile because you have this opportunity to get back to the offline schooling, also meet your teachers and friends. But also remember to follow all the standard operating procedures, to wear a mask, sanitize, and also if you fall sick, you must immediately report to your teacher, to your parents. And remember not to put down other people who have got COVID. And if you have a problem, if you feel the stress is too much, remember to talk to other people, your parents, teachers, and counselors. So enjoy your college, follow all the standard operating procedures. But remember, if there is a COVID outbreak in your area, college may be closed down again. So there's no need to get very disappointed. You have to be prepared for it. There are points of time when we feel that the distress is too much. And these are some of the flag signs which I'm going to share with you. And these are the danger signals that you, if you have identified in yourself, then you should consult a mental health professional or a doctor immediately. Or if you feel any of your friends have had this problem, they should consult a doctor immediately. And these are a friend who has been doing very good in studies or average in studies suddenly starts failing. A friend who has always been smiling suddenly becomes very quiet or suddenly becomes more angry, and this anger or change in behavior lasts for more than 2 weeks. A friend who always used to call you up is suddenly lost interest in calling you up for the last 2 weeks and is complaining of persistently low mood for more than 2 weeks, complains of loss of sleep, appetite, not bothering to take a bath or brush the teeth, sometimes complaining of headache, stomachache. All these indicate mental distress. And also there may be some friends who get
who come and tell you, I feel like committing suicide, I don't feel like living. They even post on Facebook or make it their status that life is not worth living. So all these signs indicate that you must seek help at the earliest. And if you have a friend who is in severe distress, be a lifesaver. Be calm, reassure that friend, share with them your coping and problem solving skills if they want to listen to you. But remember, you must tell the parents of this friend, a parent and tell them that your friend needs help and he should not be left alone. So these are so many things that you can do to help yourself and to help others. And suppose you're hesitant to seek help from a doctor, the Government of India has the psychosocial toll-free helpline 080-486-11007. Please contact them for your mental stress issues. And for those of you who are below 18 years, you could also contact the Childline. Please remember, these are difficult times. Give yourself some time to really fly with your dreams as a beautiful butterfly. Be patient and be supportive, be careful, be alert, be kind to fight COVID-19. We can't do it alone. We have to combat COVID-19 together as one, because if Kerala has COVID cases, they can always come to Karnataka. If United States of America has COVID cases, they can always come down to India. So remember, until all areas of the world and each one of us is safe from COVID-19, COVID-19 would simply not go away. I talked to you about individual resilience, but I would suggest by helping each other, we should build up the collective resilience of the society and of a country and thereby of the world. So prepare, don't panic during this pandemic. Take it as an opportunity to build your resilience, to make yourself mentally, physically and socially strong to face all stresses which come in your way. Make the surfboard of your life very, very strong to surf all waves and all ripples and all challenges of life. After all, you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Wishing you all the very best in life, and please do not hesitate to share your queries with me, and Base would share an email ID and you could send your queries to me and I would be happy to answer all your queries. And I hope that all of you achieve what you're capable of and your dreams come true. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Galgali, for that amazing talk. The tips that you have given, the suggestions, and the certain steps that are required for self-development and to build resilience, particularly during the pandemic today and also for future, has been wonderful. We thank you immensely. On behalf of Base Educational Services Private Limited, I extend a very warm thanks to you. We are going to be ever grateful to you for reaching out to us and delivering this amazing lecture. Thank you. Thank you, dear students.